So let's talk about seedling propagation. To understand about the basics of what's happening when you start seeds, we have to take a little look at the anatomy of a seed. So this little diagram, as crude as it is the basic representation of the parts of a seed. And it's pretty simple. The parts of it are simple, but the functions that happen are incredibly complex and even miraculous. So we'll start with the embryo. The embryo is the part of the seed that becomes the new plant. It's genetically distinct from its parents because most seeds come from two different parent plants that come together, and the embryo contains the genetic material that makes the plant that grows from the seed unique and its own individual plant. So this is the new true plant. The other parts of the next important part of the seed is the cotyledon, which is the food source for the plant. You have two main types of plants. They're called monocots and dicots, and all that means is the number of cotyledons they have. So monocots have one cotyledon, and dicots have two cotyledons. Some examples of monocots are grasses like wheat, rye. Any type of grass that grows is a monocot. Palm trees, bananas, and a lot of lilies, garlic, onions, and bulbs are monocots. Dicots I believe there's more dicots than monocots in gardening, and you have beans, tomatoes, potatoes, eggplant, peppers, everything in the gourd family: cucumbers, pumpkins, squash. So most of the plants that we grow in gardens as gardeners are dicots. So this is an example of a dicot. There's two cotyledons. I covered the other one with another part of the plant that I kind of put away in this part, and that part is called the seed coat. The seed coat is the protective layer that covers the entire seed, and it seems at face level it seems to just be a piece of like plant skin that covers the seed, but in reality it plays a very important role in the germination process and protecting the seedling. So the seed coat, it protects the embryo and cotyledons first of all from the soil, from heat and cold, and from insects even in certain cases. If the seed coat is very tough, insects can't eat it. It protects it from rot, from fungi that are in the soil. And it also regulates the water intake and gas exchange that this living seed, the embryo and cotyledons, undergo during germination and during dormancy. So when a seed is sitting in the soil, the seed coat regulates how much moisture can go in and out of the seed, and how much oxygen and CO2 can go through the seed. So it's important. It's a very important regulatory organ for the seed. In addition to that, different seed coats can affect the dispersal method of the seed. So some plants, especially weeds, have seed coats that will have structures attached to them, like a dandelion. It has the little parachute thing. That's part of the seed coat, and that enables the seed to be dispersed. And oftentimes the thickness of the seed coat will determine how easily the seed germinates. So I have here as an example, to illustrate some of this, a locust, honey locust seedling. And when it does germinate, these cotyledons actually become the first leaves of the plant. So these are actually those two cotyledons. So this is a dicot, obviously, and this was once the food storage structure, but now it's actually a photosynthetic structure. So it started out as a cotyledon, which is full of starch and oil and protein, and which fed the embryo, which grew and had buds that grew out into the true leaves. So that's important too to understand as far as when it's time to transplant the cotyledonary or seed leaves versus the true leaves. You can see that they look pretty different, and in other species they'll even look more different. The cotyledonary leaves usually look like something like this, and then the plant's true leaves can look completely different.